Welcome everyone to a very special episode of Ironman Skyrim. This time I'm just going to be going over Prisoner's character build really quick, just because I haven't done that yet, and she's doing so well it kind of is necessary by this point. She was born under the Atronach Stone, which granted her 150 extra points of magicka, 50% chance to absorb all the magic from a spell cast at her, and a 95% reduction in spell recharge, or magicka recharge rather. Now, as you can tell, an unbelievable number of my perks have been sunk into the destruction tree. The destruction tree is really pretty straightforward. The only one that's really noteworthy is impact. I believe in the just vanilla copy of Skyrim, when you get to dual casting impact spells, it'll stagger the opponent every time. Now it's been moved down to 25% of the time, which makes destruction a lot fairer in my opinion. After that, I took Rune Master to cast runes twice as far away. It makes runes a lot more of a range spell, and I thought I was going to take Geomancy, but now that I know that I can cast two at one time, I don't think I'm going to do it. So yeah, like I said, I've focused a lot on the Destruction Tree, and I'm going to be leveling up the Frost branch of that before too long. Alteration I took mostly for its Mage Armor perk, and Mage Armor has really saved my bacon so many times. In fact, that's what this perk increase is going to go into. I've taken Mage Armor twice, and now Mage Armor is twice, or 2.5 times as effective, I think. And Second Skin will unlock the secondary effects always on those spells. And also, I've been leveling up Enchanting and Alchemy, but I haven't bothered singing any perks into it because I simply couldn't justify it. Now, I've been taking Stealth as well, and by far the most useful skills have been Quiet Casting, which makes all spells silent, and I might end up taking Deadly Whispers at some point, but Arcane Assassin was the big game changer for me. Increasing the sneak attack damage modifier from 1.75 to 2.5 is incredibly just useful. Like I said, it completely changed the way I play the game. I took two perks in Wayfarer, and I pretty much regret it instantly. I should have sunk those into the Destruction Tree, but what do you do, right? If you've been counting along somehow and you realize that I have one extra perk, I actually changed 3 Dragon Souls for one of the Mage Armor perks sometime around episode 4 or episode 3, I believe. So someday I might go up the Wayfarer tree, but by the time I do that, I'll probably be well beyond the end of the game just looking at the timeline. So I've considered doing Conjuration, but almost all my Conjuration skill points have come from doing Soul Trap. Now, I did a whole bunch of quests, and you can see all the ones here that I've completed. Unbound was the opening quest before the storm, pretty much the same opening quest. I wish they had miscellaneous quest objectives shown, because I have completed a crazy number of those as well. I think I'm up to like 60 something. Mind of Madness was Sheogorath's, Tending the Flames. You saw most of these, I believe, but I'm just letting you know that these are quests that I did, in fact, complete. With Friends Like These was the beginning of the Dark Brotherhood, and that was completed when I first went into the Sanctuary. Old Man's Quest, that was one of the mod quests I had that gave me that just stupid loot. You know, the Circlet of Regeneration and stuff. It was alright, but it was so cheap that I honestly wouldn't recommend having it if you're trying to do a sort of fairer playthrough of Ironman Skyrim. So I have a whole bunch of quests going on right now, and I've just been hitting them as I've been walking back and forth between all of the towns. And right now, I have actually managed to complete a whole bunch of the collection quests in Riften, which I didn't think was actually going to be possible in a Skyrim playthrough. The Book of Love is one of the quests that I've never done before. It's pretty interesting going around and helping romance blossom, you know. Sorcery is another mod quest, and I don't know how that one is. I've never actually played it. Finally, looking at the spells I have really quick, I don't know which of these are vanilla and which of these are from mods I've installed, but the most useful ones by far have been Feather, and I've never used Featherfall, but it's just in case. Limited Wish it's okay, I don't use it ever really, but it's the Oak Flesh and Stone Flesh. All of the Mage Armor I use all the time, and as you saw, I used Talon Strike a lot in the early game. I don't use it so much now, though, because you can't get sneak attack damage with Talon Strike, which means that I get far more out of a well-placed Fireball than I do out of Talon Strike. So I actually think that's one of the things that makes the spells pretty fair and balanced, is stuff like Glacial Spike, Talon Strike, those kind of things. They don't get sneak attack damage. I don't know why, but I think it's fair enough. Ghost Walk is a little game breaking, so I try to avoid using it if I can. And then I've tried to collect as many diverse destruction spells as possible. I do find that 100 points of damage for Fiery Touch is extremely useful, and Fire Rune, the runes have been more useful than I ever thought they would be, to be completely honest. Let's see, what else? And I can't believe that Flames now does 22 points of damage per second. That's what good perks will do, is they'll make poor spells perform really well, even late game. So Glacial Spike, like I said, it does 170 bonus damage if you hit the target in the back, and I've always found that to be an interesting addition to gameplay. Now, Hidden Scorpion has become so obsolete since I got Scorpion Rune. As you notice, Scorpion Rune does twice as much damage, and there's the fact that it's essentially a ranged spell. When Hidden Scorpion, you have to walk up and touch your opponents. Scorpion Rune, you just throw it on the ground at their feet, and it's much easier to sneak away. And it does, what was it? 240 damage? It's a really nice spell. So it's one of the more interesting runes I have. I don't know if it works on any Dwemer or any automatons or anything like that. Shock Orb I used once back in the Horn of Jurgen Windcaller mission, and I never found it to be useful enough to use, so it's favorited, but I've only ever cast it once or twice. I don't know why I have Daedric Armor, seeing as though I don't have any Daedric summoning, but I've used Soul Trap a whole bunch of times, and that's really what brought my Conjuration skill up to the level it is now. And finally, I thought I'd be using Restoration a lot more than I have, but it's been sort of languishing. I think I've gotten maybe 5 or 6 skill increases on it throughout the course of the game. So, I'm not sure what Drain Vitality is. I can only assume it's linked to Marked for Death, and I don't know how it is, or why it even exists, or why it's separate. I just assume it's something that one of my mods ended up putting in. It's kind of an interesting shout, but I can't imagine using it when I have Marked for Death, which, drains my opponent's armor and it lowers their health overall, and even less so when compared to Unrelenting Force, which, when well placed, can allow me to shout enemies straight off the, just shout them straight off a mountain, or better yet, knock them down and allow me to get behind them and use Glacial Spike. So, yeah, that's about it. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope you know a little bit more about Prisoner's build. I'll be uploading a real episode soon.